This one is? Mine's not.
There it goes.
There it is.
Maybe.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good, are you?
So this is the Recreation Meeting Subcommittee.
Right.
I'll just let everybody introduce himself for the recording, actually. Today's date is December the 16th, meeting at 5 p.m., Conference Room 2. My name is Roseanne Smith. I am County Commissioner for this committee, District 3.
I'm Elena Murray, and I am a county representative on the committee.
Dave Kapka, Coffee County Grants.
AJ Fox, Manchester Parks and Recreation Director.
Jeff Dameron, City of Tullahoma, Deputy Director.
Okay. Have you got one of those for me?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Well, so I don't have an agenda and I didn't bring minutes. Maybe I'll do that going forward, but I didn't today. I sent everybody the email. Everybody
Right.
got it, reviewed it. So Dave, do you have some information for us today? I think that's why we're meeting.
Right. I just was kind of looking at some things, just talking with AJ before the meeting started, with TDEC grants. Currently, AJ has a TDEC grant open with the Parks Recreation Fund grants, which, understanding that we can't open a new one until currently close out on the current one opening, or that's open, I should say.
The city of Manchester. cannot.
Manchester,
Yep.
okay.
Is that the one for the lights?
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought it up for tonight's meeting was it is now currently opening up. So I just wanted to throw it out there just in case there was something. So for
That's not this
Manchester,
one.
obviously,
That's a
that's
different
something we can't
He's
really
not on
look
that
forward
one
to.
yet.
But Tullahoma is
Which grant is this one now? Is this the
LPRF.
LPRF? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything open at this point, but that is a grant that obviously you can go for purchasing of land for facility, as well as, you know, upgrading or refurbishing any parks that you have.
How much y'all end up getting? Did y'all do 750 and 750?
Mm-hmm.
So y'all got the 750?
Yes.
So I just wanted to, again, bring that to y'all's attention, that it is currently open, and there are some deadlines. And then the other one was, I just handed out the Youth Development Foundation. That is not currently open, but it should be opening soon. Typically at the beginning of the year, these grants will open.
I'm very familiar with this one.
Oh, you are, so you have received it?
We haven't received it. We looked at it. We ended up, our Parks and Rec former director left, and then our city administrator left like 2 months later, so right when we were in the early, but I did a lot of research on this particular one,
Okay,
and I still have actually had contact
okay.
with them.
So this is something, again, that's out there, coming up soon, I would assume. They said they'll contact me as soon as it does open, so I will forward that once it is. But on the second page, you'll see some cities that have received recently. So you can see some projects that were funded, just to give some ideas in case there's something that may kind of give you some ideas. This Inglewood baseball at the bottom there, they will even fund batting cages. I noticed that there's no batting cages anywhere locally. Is that something that might interest either of the two?
We have two. We have one at
Oh,
the
you do?
We have two. We have one. It's 2 lanes at the girls softball fields. We have 2 out there, and we have 2 more at.
The baseball?
But yeah, and there's only 2 lanes though. This one right here is a big one.
Right.
This one is.
So, but that's for the school, so correct? Is it open to the public?
Ours is open to the public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of.
Tullahoma Sports Council, and then Little League, and then the city.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kind of, we done that together.
Okay.
I helped fundraise for that even before I worked for the city.
Oh, great.
But I mean, we're always, I mean, we've way outgrown them. They're
Sure.
full, even in the wintertime. They stay full. We have lights so you can hit at night if you want to, but we just recently in the last 3 months got the ones up at girls softball.
Oh, nice.
So we have 2 out there, and then we have 2 at Wagner Park as well.
Is that just like a lane or is that a pitching machine?
No, it's a lane.
Okay.
You know, now some of the coaches have their own
Right.
pitch machines that they
Bring
will
in.
bring out there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So, it would be nice if we could own a couple, but for the good ones, they're about
Yeah.
$4,000.
Well, I
a
would
piece.
say too that, I mean, having
you can
anybody using them, they could mess up.
You
and
have to
stuff
know.
like that.
I mean, I know how to use one, but you kind of have to know what you're doing.
Right.
The good ones will do baseball and softball.
Mm-hmm.
For softball, they'll throw the rise ball, and then they'll also throw the hook for
Yeah.
some of the off-speed stuff. But it would be nice to have a couple of those. So kind of check them in and out, but you have to know kind of what you're doing a little bit to
Yeah.
use those. But they're open for dads to throw their sons or moms to throw their daughters or whatever softball. And we do have L screens in
Okay.
ours to protect the pitcher.
Yeah, coming again from coaching background, when I just left, moved here, I just purchased for the high school,
Hmm.
being a head coach, and it was for high school use only.
Yeah.
Now, we did have a actual company that had come in to the town, and they had a building, they had like 12 lanes,
That's what the county desperately needs. It would be,
and that's something
you know,
that with this particular grant, you could get, like
Mhm.
5, 6 lanes possibly.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, again, something that I brought tonight that,
and generally, even in
Consideration.
our city, if the school owns it, we don't share equipment with the school.
Right.
And a lot of that is not just like, not that there's not a relationship there, because there very much is, but it's more about liability.
Sure.
We don't share construction equipment between the city and
right,
the school. Probably a long time ago, they probably did that, but more so it's about, the internal insurance audits, and things
Oh,
like that. It's more about liability than it is actually not wanting to share the stuff. I think
right.
it's
no, I
more about
understand.
liability.
Yeah. But, and then there's some other things that were funded through this particular youth development foundation, that, could possibly, be of interest to the two.
This one does not count, this one doesn't do land though, too, like the other
It
one
will
does.
do land.
Oh, it will, okay.
Yes. It will do capital projects, including building and renovating fields, Chris Ward talked about purchasing of land.
This one does equipment as well. Like,
Right, yes.
even let's just say you didn't have a project, if you wanted to buy like, say, new softball equipment for all the girls, this one will do, and it's based on the ratio of like how many kids. I've done a little bit of research on
Yep.
this one. It's based on like how many kids you have, and then like you kind of have to get your county and city demographics.
Right,
They want a breakdown of what's your percentage of white, Hispanic, African American. They'll ask for a little bit of pedigree information
yeah, they'll do,
when it comes to that.
if you charge fees, they'll pay low income.
Yes.
They'll cover those fees. They'll pay,
That would be awesome.
regular, player registration fees, facility rental fees, field maintenance.
That's pretty awesome.
So, knowing what you know about the county, who would benefit from this, the county or,
It would be the cities. Yeah,
okay,
again, that's my directive as far as.
County doesn't
writing.
have a league or the players, the cities
Okay.
do, so it would have to be either Manchester City or,
okay. So
Tell them
you're
city.
really just kind of trying to funnel information to
Right,
those cities.
right. And
Unfortunately.
I will see if anything beyond that.
did we get any info on exactly how much that land they were talking about, was it 100 acres, 200 acres out there? Were you gonna see what the breakdown of that was?
I don't have that, but I
Okay.
will ask.
Or we
that.
talked
So
about
there
that,
was
like
an
how much they had
article.
allocated?
Do you have that info, Elena?
I did,
Remember we talked about it, we touched on it just a little bit last time, it was, I forget how many, you remember, AJ, how many acres it was?
It was a lot. I don't remember what
Yeah.
it was.
I want to. 116 is the number in my head. I have no idea where that came from. Could be complete. There was an article about it though, but so I was going to see if I can find it. Oh, I have no service.
And that's,
That would be a good time for, I guess, maybe capital outlay. Terry Hirschman might come in here and I'll call him
Okay.
tomorrow. Maybe even when I leave, I'll see him.
and I see Terry pretty regularly, he's working on that, soccer complex for us over there, the new, pavilion and concession stand and restroom project. So I talk to Terry almost every day right now.
Well, ask him, and
I
then
will.
I'll try to remember
Yeah.
and ask him too. So, what
In-
kind of girls soccer complex? Is it girls or just
No, it's
soccer?
soccer in
Okay.
general. So we
It's
built.
not the one on Johnson Lane?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
It's, so we have Johnson Lane softball on this side, which is actually on Johnson Lane. It's a 37-acre park, but the entrance is actually off of Rock Creek Road
Yep,
for the
mhm.
soccer. But it's a $900,000, it's 4,400 square feet, I think, total. About 2,000 square feet for pavilion space, a huge concession stand, a mechanical room, storage for soccer, and then 6 family bathrooms that are all, they're not gang
They're
bathrooms.
all-
Each one is separate, so you get away from the boys and the girls and all that stuff. Kind of solves that problem when they're all ADA bathrooms as well.
Uh-huh.
So this is going to be the kind of the flagship. What we build in the future is we're going to get away from that gang style bathroom and where everybody has an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if you end up, and AJ, I'm sure you've had this happen before too, somebody will mess up one toilet, and because they all use the same water source, you have to shut down the whole bathroom, well, this way, if you have an incident in the bathroom, you can shut it off to that one bathroom and still keep the other 5 open.
So is it a facility, an
Mhm.
indoor facility?
Yeah, it has,
Okay.
it's heated in it, and if you want to ride over one day, you got my info.
Wow,
I'd
how
be more than happy to
nice.
show it to you. But it's, they've only had porta potties for the
Mhm.
18 years that place has been there, I think, so. It has lights,
Has it been there that long?
yeah, 2000.
That's a
Softball
long
was built in
time.
2000, I think the other side got lights, maybe 08, I think maybe, so.
So we would still like to know if there's any possibility of land being available
The problem with
between.
land is who's gonna maintain it and run it. I mean, cause that's what,
You have more than options, I think, than you think. It wouldn't necessarily have to be Manchester City or Tullahoma City, or it could be like a joint effort. Shelbyville farms their field fixes and field cutting out to a third party. They don't, essentially they have a maintenance crew, but they don't have, like where we actually we have a turf guy, and then we have 7 people that work on the grounds crew. We line the fields, but we still are, all our common area maintenance mowing, we farm that out to a third party. The fields we still do, but all the common areas, we farm that out to, it's Mike Rogley's company, I'm trying to think of the name of it. But, they mow, like, the Civic Center, even where my office is, CW Wilson, the third party mows all that. Our guys mow the fields and do the maintenance of that, but we farm everything else out. I think you do have some options as far as maintaining it. The county would obviously be the ownership of the facility, especially like the indoor part, so, you would need some sort of, budget for that, but I think by renting it out and having the tourism dollars, you see the increase in the hotel motel tax, by doing that. Lynn and I briefly talked, we had our employee party today, Mr. Seaborn, he kinda touched on that too, as far as doing some joint tourism with Manchester City, Tullahoma City, and the county as well, so.
just something that, it's hard to go too far without knowing who's gonna take care of it is all. And if it does go either city route, then that limits what you can do as far as grants.
At this point, yes. But again, I can see what I can.
I didn't find the article, that's where it was from.
So if there was any kind of, if
The
we
county could
could-
always build it and lease it to Manchester City or Tullahoma City, and then part of the lease is that we would take care
But
of the
we gotta have
fields.
land, that's our
Gotta
big
have the
thing.
land, yeah.
Yeah.
The county could lease it for $1 a year, kinda like we do with the one Rogers, the other soccer fields. We actually lease that from the state for $1 a year, for those fields over there.
Okay,
So it's very
And you
doable.
guys maintain.
We would maintain the
Yeah.
fields, whether it be Manchester City or Tullahoma City or a combination of both of us,
okay.
But we could organize the tournaments would be for Coffee County as a whole, and that include, in Coffee
Yeah.
County is Manchester and Tullahoma, so everybody eats, you know what I mean? So everybody gets a little bit from it. I think that would be the best approach, Just, I mean, that's more than the 30,000 foot view, but I think for the county to get involved and to provide the land, I think that's
There
the
has
path.
to be some
Yeah.
kind of revenue
Yeah.
building off of it, okay. Okay,
And you'd build all multi-purpose fields so you could play fast pitch, slow pitch, player pitch. I mean, you could even host a flag football tournament on them. The outfields make good uses for, especially youth flag football. You know, and all the new stuff that Murfreesboro has built too has all been multi-use.
anybody else have anything to bring up?
No, that's all I had, were these two here that I wanted to share, just again, get it out there.
To the cities,
To the cities, correct.
okay,
And this is good information from Jeff.
yeah,
So the county, I mean, and you, cause you know more about this than me, the county can apply for a LPRF grant because they don't currently have a recreation department or,
They could apply, but they'd have to have a 5-year recreation plan that's been passed by the county board. I don't think you necessarily have to have a department
That's for
per
the
se,
LPRF.
but you have
he
to
knows
have
more
a
about
plan.
that stuff than I do.
You have to have a plan in place.
Right,
a 5-year plan,
recreational plan.
Yeah,
is that hard to come up with?
It's not, I mean, it's time consuming more than anything. You have to hold public meetings, surveys, compile it all, put it in the format that the state would want it in, and then, you know, take it in front of a, county commission and have them approve it, and then from there, it's applying for the grant. You'd have to submit a letter of intent, get selected to actually apply for the grant, and then once you get selected for apply for the grant, then you apply and then sit and wait and see if you're selected to receive the grant.
And those are 50-50 grants?
The LPRF is 50-50, yes.
No, that would be another thing, is what is the budget of the county, what they could put up as far as,
So,
Another part of that.
Albertville, Alabama
Okay.
is a population of 23,000 people. They raise sales, but I know we can't raise sales tax, just hear me out on this. They raised sales tax 1 cent and built an $85 million facility. And in the first 6 months, they had $15 million in revenue. Look it up. It's called Sand Mountain Park in Albertville, Alabama. They have an amphitheater. They have,
So it's a park of broad,
started out as an $8 million project, and then they decided to go big and did a bond, raised the sales tax 1 cent, and ended up being an $85 million project over 4 years. And
geez.
like I said, the first 6 months was up, brought in $15 million in revenue. Not to mention, that's not including like hotel motel tax, that's just the facility itself.
the facility itself.
It's all turf fields though. They have soccer, the multipurpose field. It's just, I mean, obviously that's the pie in the sky,
Mhm, but
but
it's,
you have to have some vision if you ever want to get there. You know what I mean?
wow, that's and I mean, not to mention
Go
what
look at it
is-
online though. Just Google Sand Mountain Park in Albertville, Alabama.
Well, I mean,
What is it if you, for every 1 cent of property tax, how much money is it? $153,000?
I don't know.
I used to know what the number was, but the rates have changed since then.
I don't know, I'm not on budget and finance, I don't know what that is. So they raise property tax
They
1
raised sales,
cent.
no, they raised sales tax 1
Okay.
cent. They went from 8.75 to 9.75. We're already at the state max on sales tax at 9.75.
So we can't do that. I'm not
Yeah.
saying we do
No, I'm just
that,
saying,
I'm just.
but I think I'm thinking the property tax though could maybe have a similar, financial outcome, you know?
Well,
I know people hate to talk about property tax. I own a bunch of property in Tullahoma and Franklin County too, but, you know, that's kind of the price of progress is, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why in a site plan, when you build a new building now in Tullahoma, you have to put in the sidewalks, you have to put in the landscape. Infrastructure always has to start somewhere, you know. And the cities can't afford to put, the cities or the county can't afford to put sidewalks in every time somebody wants to build a building, you know, so that's why they
No.
put them
that's good.
in the site plans.
Well, what other kind of brainstorms can y'all think of? That's interesting. I am gonna look that up. Sand Mountain Park in Albertville, Alabama.
There's only 23,000 people live there too.
Gosh, 23,000 people.
What are we at, 60, 61,000?
Mm-hmm.
So is that all outdoor, or they have any indoor facilities?
Both.
That's what,
I know $85 million is a big number, but I'm saying that's dirt work, that's,
Everything.
and, you know, talking about to do the LPR grant, you know, if the county could get $15,000 or $20,000 together, they could hire somebody like Loesch or,
Yeah,
Kimberly Horn.
Mhm.
They'll do the master plan for you.
yeah,
They'll give you a conceptual. I think on the pickleball, we spent, $6,000-7,000 on the pickleball master plan for across there at Cascade.
Mhm.
So if you're gonna do a county-wide one, you can get a real good one done for $15,000 or $20,000 by hiring an outside firm. You, just like anything else, according to the purchasing policy, you put it out for bid. You're gonna get three, and then probably, what do you think, Wold, Kimley, and probably Lowe's.
probably.
All three of those are real good companies. But
To
they'll
get-
come do, they would probably come to one of the meetings and do a presentation for, like you and budget finance for free. Now, if you wanna go further, you know, you gotta put some money in,
Mhm.
everything is, they'll give you a conceptual, they may do something to kinda get you on board of what they can do, they might be willing to do that in a meeting, but, you know, people vote seeing pictures, you know? It's all about the visual and aesthetics, I think.
Yeah.
If you show them what you could possibly build, that gets people excited.
But we have to have land first, right? Am I
Correct.
right on that? So, okay. That would be, so how many acres was the Albertville,
Oh, it's like
Alabama?
100 and
Oh, wow.
113, but I'm not saying, I mean,
I
obviously
know.
that's, but I mean, I'd say we need 50.
Yeah.
A minimum of 50. How big is y'all's area where the majority of the fields are?
Well, I mean, if you wanna do a four-field wagon wheel, you know, complex, you're looking at a minimum 13 acres.
Yeah. So you figure time, it would just be ball, I mean, we'd have a walking track, a dog park, playground for kids, pavilion to rent out for birthday parties, I mean, it wouldn't just be.
It would be for
Yeah,
everyone.
well, yeah, everybody in the county, you know, and think about it, just from you being a county commissioner, you know, you can't ride in the police car unless you get arrested. You can't ride in the fire truck, but just think about the money that's
Mhm.
spent. When you spend money through recreation, 90% of what we spend money on, the general public can use. But outside of my office and our admin stuff, our facilities, AJ's too, is open 90% of the time to 90% of the people. Like, people actually see the direct benefits of the quality of life through parks and recreation. You don't, you know, sewer system's not sexy, you gotta have it, but it ain't, you know, neither is fire trucks and police cars unless you're getting toted off to the county, you know? So the
That's-
general public never gets to see or use any of that. With parks and recreation, they actually get to see what the tax dollars go for. I think that's an angle of selling.
That's a very good point. And more people are interested, of course, in that. I think. I could be wrong, but.
No, I mean, I think people are, for sure.
I mean, most of your people that come to our area, that's what they look for. You know, what amenities do you have?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't tell you how many people we have come to our rec center that, you know, they're saying, hey, we're moving to the area, we stopped by to check it out.
Same thing with us. It's never people that's local, it's always people that are looking to move here or being relocated here and stuff like that. That's what I see.
Do you think the local people are not using it as
No,
much?
they are.
No, they're
Just-
using it.
Oh, they're using
Yeah.
it, but they take it for granted, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
But the main reason you see people that live on the outskirts of Murfreesboro or like bedroom type communities usually is because, you know, the wife wants to play a sport, or they're looking at the school system, but those are the things they're looking at is quality of life and school systems. Number one and number two, the top two things that people look at when they move somewhere, school system and quality of life. Parks, recreation's number one on the quality of life list, you know. Do you got greenways or somewhere for us to run? Do you got nice playgrounds, you know what I mean, things like that. Is there ample lighting, you know? What kind of sports leagues do you offer? Those are the things people are interested in,
Yep.
you know. They would take all of that stuff over garbage pickup or school buses, you know. It's not 1904 anymore, you know, it's not the taxpayer's responsibility to get your kids to school. We, you know, once in a while to come up and tell them, and I know the county does it, but I'm just saying, it's probably the biggest burden you guys have as far as the black hole is probably buses. It's a never ending,
There are very few of them are ever fully loaded, are they?
Mm-mm.
They're all empty, just
my
like.
daughter graduated from Manchester, never rode a bus a day in her life.
Yeah, times have really changed, but the people that don't ride the bus and don't have access have to have it. But, well, so do we want to have a monthly meeting, another one in a month? I think
I would
it's,
like to.
seems to
I'll do
be,
that, yeah.
We always
I'll
have to start
I'll
somewhere.
continue to look and
I
Uh,
was gonna say, can we
support.
look for anything like playground specific? I mean, I know that it would be a city-owned, that
Could you mention
particular
it again
project.
to the powers that be though about maybe doing a, joint promotional video at, highlighting Manchester and Tullahoma's, parks and fields and properties, and maybe doing the drone footage and
that
put
could,
it on the county website, you and I talked about that a little bit.
yes.
Like, I think the county's probably got a little bit of money to do that, I would think.
I'm betting, but I don't know that. I'll find out.
I
That
mean, I
could
just
be.
feel like there's so many people that do that now that somebody would
Oh,
even want to
their
get their
own
name
stuff.
out there would do it for a good price just to have their name attached to it.
Yeah, we as this Manchester City, we've got called a tourism video that's out there.
Yeah.
You know, but it
Did
features.
the chamber do it for y'all?
Yeah, but it features more of, it touches the Parks and Rec side, but it touches some of the local businesses and stuff
Mhm.
too. It's not just specific for if you're trying to advertise.
So I can
what
look
rec
on
facility-
your website and see that?
I believe it's on there. I'd have to look,
Okay.
I believe it is. If not, I can get you a link to it.
I mean, Coffee County should be advertising the George Dickel's on the whiskey trip. That's
Yeah.
another thing. I mean, George Dickel's not in Tullahoma or Manchester, it's in the county.
Yep.
And
Well, they may be. I don't
So,
know. Have you
no, they're
looked?
not in the city.
No, I mean, are they?
Oh,
Advertising it?
Yeah.
I've not seen a video if there
Mm-mm.
is. But what does the county have? They don't have any promotional tourism videos, do they?
Mm-mm, I don't think so.
No, I don't think.
Not that I've
I
ever
haven't
seen,
looked.
you know.
I'll try to look. I don't know.
who's in charge of county tourism? I know there's Manchester tourism, but is there a county tourism,
I'll find out.
individual?
I don't know that, there's
Didn't
not
they
a
used to have-
committee.
Didn't they used to have like a 250K budget for tourism?
Yeah, they've got something.
It's 500 or 250, it's something, I know.
250,000? No,
Oh,
no. Maybe
But part of
20,000.
But they earmark, the part that I'm saying is, they put that hotel motel tax that's not directly allocated to anything. And that's supposed to go for tourism, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. There's certain ways you have to spend it.
Yeah. And I would think a tourism video would be a good use of tax dollars for sure.
So that would be the hotel motel tax?
I think it's tied to an account. The way government accounting works, you have those accounts that have to be spent on certain things. I wanna think
yep.
it's one of those.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like a specific tourism committee the way there is in the city.
So Manchester City gets a portion of hotel motel tax, Tullahoma City does, and then the county gets their part as well. I wanna think it's like 50% of it is earmarked, supposed to be for tourism.
But what falls into that? I'm sure a lot does.
They may not be spending it,
I know, it might be sitting there.
that's, yeah.
We could
You
figure
can't
out.
say you'd be surprised, I've seen that happen.
Well, that would be a
Beautification
nice-
accounts and-
Surprise.
Yeah, that would be a nice surprise.
Right?
Oh, yeah, we've got $500,000 in tourism. No, I'm just joking. Joking. I don't know that, but I will find out. I'll talk to, the mayor and ask him. At some point, I'll invite him to the meeting,
Yeah.
but then.
I mean, I think it would be good that if he were able to answer some questions related
I
to.
think at some point it'd be good to have him,
Yeah.
Mr. Seaborn and Manchester's mayor all
Oh, yeah,
at a
you're
meeting,
right.
I was thinking that too. I didn't know if that was practical, but
I think Joey would be very open, don't you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, now that we got this committee understanding where we're headed and what the vision is, now I think it's time to bring them on board to see what the vision is.
Well, should I see if they could come for the January meeting?
I think it'd be great.
Okay,
so it'd
And
be
then
what?
talk about the joint effort between the cities on a centralized
The 20th or the 13th?
complex.
Is it the third week?
yep,
The third Monday? That would be the 20th.
I think that would be
I think if you ask them now, you get out, it gives them enough time to maybe make that happen so they can.
5:00. That's not Martin Luther King holiday, is it?
Actually, yes, it is a bit.
I mean, that
Swear.
doesn't really
It is.
affect me,
It
but,
is Martin Luther King.
Well, we're closed that day.
yeah, so y'all might wanna
I mean,
You wanna do the 27th then, the next following week?
Yeah, let's do that.
Cause we're all losing the first week, y'all know
Yes,
that, the
we
week of
are.
the first, so let's go to the 27th.
I think that's a good idea. Do we want to, I mean, this is kind of a subcommittee, but do we need to have a chairman and a secretary? Obviously, I don't have the minutes, but I did send the email out, and that was, I was gonna print that, but you all got that email, but I could at least have that on file as the minutes from
I agree.
last meeting, and then I'll do it for this one. And then an agenda, that's always good to have an
If
agenda.
you're gonna have the three mayors come, I
Right.
think you would.
We need
you
an
need-
agenda.
You need an agenda for that, so that
Yep.
way we're just not out in the weeds, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
though that could lead us to hours of conversation.
If it ends up that way, that's fine, but I think if we, you know, if we do get out there, we
Yeah.
can get back
So-
on track
On
with
the,
an agenda.
the
yeah.
items we wanted to discuss at least.
so, okay, and then we will kind of go at it with the proper procedures, you know, with well, who wants to be chairman? I don't have to be the chairman, but I'm happy to, if you want me to be, or I can be the secretary, or what would y'all like to do? What do y'all think we should do?
I think for the time being, it's fine
Just,
with you
yeah,
keeping it, I
let's
think,
just
simple.
kinda keep it simple.
Yep.
And we'll have some form of organization at the next meeting, especially if they can be here, so that we can all, you know,
And I'm
really.
happy to help with whatever responsibilities that might
Okay.
be.
And the good thing about having it recorded is you get to look back at it and then
Yeah.
remember.
But it also gives you something back to report to the commission as a
Mhm.
whole.
Mhm.
Say, hey, this is what we're working on, this is what we're working toward, you know.
Yep.
And really,
You
this would go back
kinda
to the
give
Health,
a-
Wellness, and Recreation Committee first, right?
The what?
Health, Wellness, and Recreation Committee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we didn't have a meeting this month as a commission. It'll be in January, so that's kind of why,
Hmm.
kind of coasting a little bit, but, I will have to present it to, and I'll do it in an email. I'll just share them with the two minutes from the first November meeting and then the December meeting, okay? And then before the next meeting, we'll kind of all kick around the idea of what does the agenda need to have on it, and if you think of it right now, then just,
I mean, I definitely say the land.
I agree, the
That
land should be
was-
at the top of the
That
list.
should
out
be.
this highway.
I would say the three main focal points would be the land, the grants, and Dave can speak a little bit on that. And then the other thing with I think at least seeing if there's money available to do a joint, you know, tourism video.
tourism is, would be the third.
Yes.
So the
I would
first
say-
thing on the agenda would be discussion of land possibilities, maybe,
My role.
With grants, I would say too, the possibility of partnership in that, and, you know, that it not just
especially
be under.
since they're all three gonna
Yeah,
be here.
right. I mean, I think that would organically happen anyways, but just, I mean, wanting to call that out, that it may be that it's a combination of everyone
Yeah,
working
how-
together and not just county.
Yeah, how are all three entities gonna work together? to-
Right.
One common goal is really what we need to figure out.
I mean, and I could commit to doing some research on that, but I know there are several places that have done large projects, that there's multiple entities that have worked together.
Joe
and
Huff
created-
in Blount County, they
I
have
know
a county
Paducah, Kentucky was
city,
one that,
They have they're funded like 50% county, 50% city over there.
Their park and recreation,
And
They
that's,
Blount
like,
County, BLO, isn't it Joe
Blount.
Huff in the him?
is that up
Is it
in
Mar-
Townsend,
Yeah, yeah.
Tennessee?
Maryville,
No,
Alcoa?
Maryville, yeah,
Maryville,
Maryville,
Alcoa.
yeah. His name is Joe Huff.
Mhm.
JP actually knows him real well. I'll see if I can get you a number for
Yeah, if you
him,
could, that'd
Dave,
be
and I'll email it to you. Yeah,
They share
It's actually,
recreation.
what, three, isn't it? Maryville?
yeah, it's
Alcoa,
three. It's
Blount-
two
Blount
cities and a county. Yeah, so it's
Okay.
Blount. Yeah, he's
Sounds
right.
like
Maryville,
Maryville.
Alcoa, and then Blount County. Yeah, you're right. So
so.
Boy, are they powerhouses of a lot of good sports.
yes,
The one I had shown originally, the HWR committee, was Paducah, Kentucky. They have a $65 million sports complex, 130 acres. It's McCracken County, City of Paducah, and McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission. that
I want
all-
you to take a look at that Albertville, Alabama.
I
first.
am.
Y'all to Sand Mountain Park and take a look at that. There's a really big article on the internet. It kind of takes you from at planning stages, and they were just gonna upgrade some community centers to end up to an $85 million project. I mean, it's pretty
Wonder if you
neat.
could
It's a
send
good,
it-
it's a long read, but it's really interesting.
Well, that's something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send a
Well-
link to this one in our emails, but if I can find that one, I'll send that too. That way we all have the same.
Well, I know that all three mayors are really busy, but if we could put an email together to send to them with some of these links, that way, if they have the time, they can at least glance at them and kind of bring themselves into the,
I think seeing other cities and counties that are similar in size to us that have done it, that kind of adds to the vision a little bit, to say, oh, it is doable, you know.
Maybe
I think
some
that-
kind of presentation, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, the biggest thing is, I think you have to get both cities in the county to figure out, it's easy to say no, but
oh,
how
yeah.
do we figure out a way to say yes?
Right.
I think that's the big,
and if
big-
you
we need
can
to- we- I
see that it's gonna bring money into the area, the revenue, that's the good thing.
If we could do some kind of presentation when the mayors are here of success of just that.
absolutely.
And they see, hey, this.
And the
can work.
design company that done that one, is, I think, one of those that I named. AJ knows it too. They would be more than happy at some point if we got to, you know, a little further along to come in and show the pretty pictures, because I think the visual will help
Yeah.
sell the
Yeah, so
idea.
At that meeting, then, what do you say, I can come up with a presentation to show, I'll do
Mhm.
the research of that particular county, of what they've done, the partnerships, what they've developed, and then if they say, yeah, this is a possibility, then we can bring in your, design people.
Design
Or
build
then,
people.
okay, here's what it would take.
And actually, the
That's okay.
city does not run the venue. A third party does. So that's always, that would be the third scenario. Say the city of Manchester nor the city of Tullahoma. A third party would come in. What's the one in Gatlinburg? Rocky, Rocky,
What are you talking about?
it's the Cal Ripken experience. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I've been up there. The city leases it out, or the county could lease out. Say,
It's called-
hey, Manchester don't have the support to do it, Tullahoma really doesn't, you could always farm it out to a third party, the county still gets the benefit, and then, you know, they pay like a set fee to lease out your facility. You know, you're still getting the sales tax dollars, you're still getting the hotel motel tax, so there's more than one way of
Making it
of making it happen, you know. It doesn't have to all fall on the county or all fall on either city, you know, there are options, you know, joint ways of doing it, or going the third party route, and there are a lot of success stories of the third parties that have done that.
Would the third parties manage it?
They do, they manage the day,
completely?
yes, they manage the day-to-day, that's the way Sand Mountains is, that's the way, the one in Gatlinburg,
It's Rocky Top, isn't it?
yeah, Rocky Top, it's, well, they have 7-8 turf fields, and they've got some soccer stuff, I think, there too. But it's actually run by a third party. They have a big basketball thing, and they host some huge basketball tournaments up
That's
there
where
too.
we've done our state tournaments for basketball. is
Up
in-
there,
Yeah.
like it's like super
There's
nice. And
almost
they'll
80
raise the goal,
courts.
they raise the goals up, and then they'll pull them back down and have volleyball. Cause
Yeah, they
girls
have temporary
volleyball is a
courts.
huge, travel volleyball is a huge growing sport right now,
All the
especially girls.
floors are temporary,
Arizona's
so
big
then they'll.
Travel.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that's not Gatlinburg, that one's Knoxville that we go to. But yeah, they're all temporary floors, so they'll just.
Is there any way for these municipalities to say how has it grown their revenue?
I mean,
Would they
sure.
disclose it, or?
Yeah.
well, Lanny,
What's the-
Goodwin from Tullahoma is the Parks and Rec director for Gatlinburg.
There's the
What do you
other
mean,
one in,
he lives in Tullahoma?
No, he's from, I mean, he was the director in Tullahoma a long time
And he
ago.
went to Gatlinburg.
He's the director.
there's that one in, Columbia too, doesn't Columbia have a new big complex that they've brought like college
yes,
teams to play
yeah.
at? Cause I actually talked to the director there, I think. How
I
many
don't see
months ago when I
Columbia,
first-
they're not TRPA, are
This one's 80
they?
acres.
Spring Hill is, but I don't think Columbia
I
is.
don't remember, I think that was what it was.
I've
But
been
he
to
had shared
this
all
one.
kinds of information, I just don't know where my notes are about it.
The
So
big thing-
these things are being done, we just have to
Yep.
figure out how does it work for Coffee County?
Right,
Mhm.
right, how can we make it happen?
How can, yeah, instead of, there not being any interest. We would hate, what is the risk? What if we spent this money and then
Oh,
it was
there's
a
interest.
flop?
I don't know how to
I mean,
prove
there's
it.
always gonna be a risk reward. I mean, obviously,
I guess Albertville
obviously the
thought the
city,
same thing.
yeah, obviously the city of Tullahoma, Manchester, and Coffee County citizens, whether we get any outside buy-in or not, they're automatically reap the benefits of it
I mean,
through the quality of life.
could
I
you
mean,
do
I
any
think-
kind of surveying? I mean, it'd be large-scale surveying, obviously, but,
I don't know.
I mean, happy to help with surveys. I do surveys.
When I first came to Parks and Rec, they
At
did
work a lot.
one, and you probably seen it with the circle graphs, like the most interested, the least interested, you know, did the circle graph with
Something
it.
simple and quick
Yeah,
that they
I
could
think that
just-
would be, I think that's.
Well, it would
doable.
have to be on Facebook or social
Oh,
media.
yeah, that would be easy.
I mean, you can put a Survey Monkey link out there, and then anybody
Mhm.
can access it. They don't necessarily have to be on Facebook.
I don't know about the background data that comes from SurveyMonkey, but I do mine with Microsoft Forms, and it has easy data that you can see quickly. Like it'll
Survey
create
Monkeys with TRPA.
graphs and charts
Yeah.
for you
We
and
get our
show
CEUs.
you all that
Mhm.
stuff.
Do you
That's
guys
what I
work
thought.
with the school districts at all? The reason I ask is, as a school teacher, we did Survey Monkey through the school. Well, that's where all the kids are gonna be, and if you could send it out through the school
It
district.
just has to be
the
approved, like
parents.
when we do
Yeah.
flyers or programs and I want to share the literature with the school, I have a contact
Yeah.
that I
Yeah, they would
send
have to
it
approve
to
Same
at
thing.
central office. I've never been turned down, we have a great working
Yeah,
relationship
Could
with
be a
Tullahoma City
QR
Send it
code
Schools.
out
that they
to the
would-
parents of all the schools.
The parent portal or something
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, even if it was a printable
I
flyer,
think
you
it's
could send on a QR
Skyward is
code.
what we have in Tullahoma, like,
What Metro City has Skyward.
Sky, that's what we have too in Tullahoma, same thing. So I think that would probably be, so you gotta figure that's, 2,400 households right there probably. Between 2,400 and 3,000. The county's even more than that,
Yeah.
Okay.
so.
I mean, in social
So it
media,
can be
it
done.
would help facilitate that for sure.
I don't know how, but
But I mean, the schools is a good option because it's
I
gonna
mean-
get some of those people that are maybe not looking at social media. for
There's
stuff
always
like
gonna be
that.
a certain level of apathy
Yeah.
in the city and
Oh.
the county. I mean, that just, you're never gonna, no, anywhere you go out in America, they're always gonna be, well, I wish, or shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I think, you have to be willing to take those things as well, but, this is not just for right now. I
Yeah.
think the big picture is setting the county up for success 50 years from now. That's what a project like this can do.
Yep.
Long after the majority of us are gone, you know what I mean? That's,
Yeah.
you're setting up the future, not your kids' kids kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think that's where you have to have some vision and,
It'll be a big draw.
That was
yeah, I
Bringing
think that's
people
the
in.
selling
Yep.
point.
the ultimate goal of ever bringing it up in the first place, is to make it better for the future.
okay.
Well, and through recreation, it's not, the basketball or the softball, that's just kind of the caveat, but at the end of the day, we want to teach and raise good humans. Be kind, know what it's like to lose, know what it's like to win, know what it's like to be part of a team.
Give them an
know what it's like
outlet,
to-
a
yeah, know
healthy
what it's like
outlet.
to overcome obstacles or, I mean, to me, that you're teaching them to be good, to raise good people when you do that through the avenue of sports and recreation because, we have too many kids that are sitting in front of a screen
All day long.
or a phone or an iPad or something.
And that's just gonna get worse.
Oh,
all
yeah.
day long, so.
And if you get all three entities together, I mean, you're getting the most bang for your buck because we're not duplicating services. You
Right.
know, Tullahoma's not building another soccer field. We're not building another soccer field. County not building a soccer field. Then we all go together, build this one facility.
Yeah.
You know,
We could all be joined together. How about that?
Wouldn't that be a miracle?
I don't know how popular that is now, but, I hope one of these days that we have a metro school system.
I do too.
Coming from Tullahoma, I know that, I don't understand why we have 3 superintendents. I don't understand why we have 3 school boards. I think we ought to be more unified as a county.
I
think
agree.
the
Totally
strength in
agree.
numbers, I do,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be just one person's idea. Everybody doesn't have to be autonomous,
Yep.
I think it would actually, maybe parks could lead the way on maybe something they could do.
feel like-
Honestly, you have to start somewhere.
That way of the world is becoming more popular of not being afraid of change. I feel like that's been something that's,
I think
So
a lot
hard
of
to
the old
overcome.
guards are gone too. And some, you guys are probably have a few more older guards than we do now. Ours just
You
flipped.
know, I don't know. I really don't know who they would be, but I think it's mostly the school employees themselves.
Yeah,
They don't
I
like
mean,
change.
Me, I'm
that would be
sorry.
protective of their structure and the way it is. Yeah, I mean, probably.
Well, yeah, nobody wants change.
But I mean, if there were benefits to it, then ultimately, I'm sure they could see.
Well, if
That'd
we
be a good
don't
thing.
have any, does anybody have anything else?
I don't
Okay,
think so.
So we're gonna, our next meeting is January 27th at 5 PM in this room, or that room, we'll know. They usually use that, but they're usually the week before, so if
Mhm.
that's available, we'll use that room.
Do you wanna invite Terry to the next one since he's budget and
Yep.
finance, maybe?
Well, I think Terry is budget and finance and,
Capital outlay.
capital outlay.
I mean, it'd be nice, if somebody had a question, Terry'd be there to answer it. I think that would be good to have him there as well.
Okay, my pen has had it. Okay,
And maybe you can send out, kind of a draft agenda and we can kind of add to it as
Yeah.
far as,
I sent
You
out
guys
the
come
links
up
to, I found the Sand Mountain, I just
Okay.
sent it out, and then I
Oh,
sent out the
great.
Paducah, Kentucky. They're both 130 acres, which I thought was weird, same size complexes.
huh,
They have a 3,000 seat amphitheater,
oh, wow.
soccer, multipurpose field, indoor.
I'll say, I just sent out the
basketball.
link to the entire park, and it goes through all of their amenities, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
And the membership's not crazy high. I wanna think it's like $75 a month.
And yeah, that's on there too, so. If I can find anything about the land, I'll send it, but I don't know where it was.
I'm
I
sure
thought
it's
Thunder
somewhere.
Radio
Even if it
posted
wasn't
it,
the
or
land they've
Manchester
already given
Times.
them, the Air Force base is, was 10, 11,000 acre, how many
It's
acres is it?
huge.
Yeah, they
I mean,
might.
what's-
I
what's-
can-
what's
I
it-
can
what's
share
another
it.
couple hundred acres?
I would
you
say I
know?
can share the deck
you
that I
know.
originally showed the HWR committee, but I know this much compared to what y'all know, so you'd probably laugh at it. But I did have a map in there that showed the county land that already existed that was in county possession, and maybe some that was city also. Because yeah, AEDC's huge.
Well,
Huge.
they're just, a lot of it's under trees.
Right.
Yeah.
Wood, so maybe
yeah.
they would, consider it, and I don't think they're giving it away or selling it, but they might lease it to
Yeah.
us for 100 years or whatever.
Hey, we lease the tennis courts until Alma from them for the Air Force Base for $1 a year. I mean,
Yeah,
ones that are over there by the industrial park.
they wanna
can
see
try to
their
look at the land,
employees have a good quality of
options
life
too.
too,
Mhm.
so.
are you
they-
talking about the base?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
base.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far in does the base come this direction?
It's,
I'm not-
Right behind the high, is it right behind the high
That's
school?
past the high school. Yeah, somewhere out there past the high school.
I don't
I'm
know.
not good with
So the base
geography.
is actually in Coffee and Franklin County both.
Right.
It touches both counties, or is in both counties.
Does anyone have connections with bigwigs at the base?
Lynn Seaborn.
Land, I mean, I met the new commander when he would come to one of our city functions or whatever, but,
Lynn's a vast
he's-
amount of knowledge.
I feel like a large part of this too is knowing who the resources are and who we can utilize to help
Well,
with different
you know,
pieces.
Lynn's still on the county commission too,
Mhm,
right?
he
And
is.
then he had to give up his spot on, my wife's on the TADC board, but, he was on that board as well, but I think he would know exactly who to contact
I think
for
so
the,
too.
for the base.
So he will be at, hopefully, they will accept our invitation to the next meeting at 5. Hopefully that time will work for them, but I'll go ahead and try to send that out tomorrow so we can know. And then, while it's fresh on our mind, do the agenda also, cause
Yeah.
then we
I
got-
think if you get it done a couple weeks before, as long as they had a decent cop or a decent revision 2 weeks out, I think that would be good,
Yeah.
Okay.
so.
Anybody got anything else before we adjourn?
Nope.
Okay. Make a motion, we adjourn.